Right then, in this video we're looking at an abandoned construction site in Malta. This building was never completed being built, and nearby I'm just showing this building is being pulled down to show how easily buildings are put up and quickly pulled down again using quarried blocks in Malta. They quickly build up buildings, quickly pull them back down, and they can reuse the blocks. And this is the building we're going to be looking at, and this is meant to be filled out, and I never filled this out, so it's very much abandoned. Look at a lack of mortar between the blocks. Notice how cheaply your blocks are just stacked up. That's why I call these buildings Minecraft buildings. And on the inside of this building, notice the stairs. Even if you go into a lift, you have to go up a couple of stairs, then down some stairs, and along to a lift. So it's not very disabled friendly. And inside this building is a lot of breeze blocks. So it's even cheaper built than a lot of Malta's Minecraft style quarried blocks buildings. Here's the lift shaft. No signs of a lift at all. I never even started installing a lift. And as we go up, I was on the first floor, and now go up to the second floor. And this building's cheaply built. It's cheap in so many ways. And the fact they're using breeze blocks, and also look at on the right, look at lack of mortar on those, holding those blocks together. It's like just stack up the blocks, little holding them together, and they could very quickly pull this down if they wanted to. And there's a lot of these buildings which were under construction, but they just gave up and left these buildings. I've saw them all over Malta. This building's not actually in the main island of Malta. This is on Gozo. And I saw loads of these, but in Gozo, bus service is not as good, so I didn't really have time to see all the buildings for the lack of buses. Here's a lift shaft, and we're up at the top floor now, and this little staircase, this goes up to where would be the plant room, and see a staircase is slightly steeper up to plant room than the rest of the staircases, because not many people would walk up here. So let's take a look around the top floor. These would be some flats if it's ever finished, and there's like this light well in the middle of the building, which is typical of Malta's buildings. Again, take a look at the blocks. There's lack of mortar holding them together. Very cheaply built. And this is the back room. I don't know how many flats there are on each floor, and this is the building at the back, which has a little balcony. And here's a view from the top floor. And this building has about 5 floors to it. It all looks very nice. Well, nice if it was finished, but still it'd be very cheap. So walking back along to the other end of the building, and this is a second flat. I think there's probably about 3 flats on each floor, I think. There's a couple of little rooms. These rooms are very small. And if we take a look at the back of this building and just see this is what it looks like. I find the construction here ever so weird how cheap it is. It's very much Spanish style of construction. And the buildings are like Minecraft buildings. They just literally quarry a block, stack them up, pull them down, reuse the block. Often old blocks and buildings are used to build walls. And buildings and abandoned buildings everywhere you look here. And if we look out the front of the building, there is a lot of abandoned buildings. If you just look at this little town on Gozo, a lot of the buildings here are actually abandoned, and a lot of abandoned ones are construction sites. It is very weird. So Gozo Island is a lot more remote feeling than the main island on Malta, because Gozo is a bit harder to get to. You have to go across in the boat. So then if we now go down the stairs, there's actually 2 parts to this block of flats. There's like 2 separate stairwells to it, completely segregated from each other. And if we go down the stairs, back down we go, it's back down to reception. That bit there looks like a reception desk. It's actually a well. It goes down to like a basement level. I don't know what they're planning to do there, but it seems very weird. Well, it feels like some sort of desk. I don't really get what that is. And down here, down some steps at the back, is a lift. So there's no way you can get a wheelchair from the front door across to the lift without going upstairs. That is very odd. So we come here back to the main street, and we now go in this entrance. And I think this is a shop, because it's on the ground floor. I think it's just this little shop space here at the bottom of the light well. And if we head to the back, because it's the back of the shop space on the ground floor, and if we look up here, we can take a look at what the building looks like. So now we go along to the other entrance, to the other flats part of the building, which is this entrance here with the gate on it. Not locked up at all, hardly anything's locked up here. Nothing secure over in Malta. I don't think they really have much of a problem with crime at all. And completely empty. Got a little fence there protecting it well so no one falls down. It was that little fence does nothing. And we go up the stairs, very much the same as the other entrance that we looked in. There's the lift shaft. And if we carry on up, this is, I think, the second floor. And you can see how we're doing work here, and it looks like I just left it, like I ran out of money and never finished this building. And there's loads of buildings like it. Some of them actually looked quite weird and interesting, and I didn't actually look around all the buildings here because the bus service over on Gozo is a lot less frequent than in Malta. And that bit of the bottles there, that actually scared me because those bottles rattle, and I thought it was someone else in the building, but there isn't. And that bit there got some blocks next to lift shaft, looks weird. But when I went to Malta, loads of people said how wonderful the bus service is in Malta. I found it not as good as people hyped kept it up to beat, and also all of the old buses are gone now. But on Gozo Island, the bus service is very infrequent, and I wasn't able to just get off the bus every time I saw a nice building, so I knew I'd be like hours for the next bus. And this is a little staircase up to the plant room. Before we go up there, let's take a look around the top floor. Again, very unfinished. I don't know when the last time they worked on this was. All the other buildings nearby are all being worked on. I don't know if they're just doing it really slowly because they don't have much money to complete it. Maybe every time I get a bit of money I continue building a bit, or either that or it's completely abandoned. And here's a balcony. This would be someone's flat when it's finished. And this is at the top of the plant room stairs. And at the back of the building there is some sheep on the hill behind. And now here I am on the roof of the building. This is what the roof looks like. And every part of this building looks cheap. Construction of these buildings is very Spanish. This is really the Spanish way of doing things. It's interesting, so a lot of Malta is quite British in its sort of style. It's like a lot of British shops. They drive on the British side of the road, but the buildings are very much Spanish style. Another thing about Malta, there's no reservoirs for tap water. So tap water is actually seawater that's been distilled, and it tastes not that good. I think you can rely on tap water a little bit in Malta, but if you're there all the time you do need bottled water because the tap water is a bit weird to drink. And that is the end of this video, and this is my last video in Malta. And also make sure you check out my other videos in Malta because there's loads of abandoned buildings here. It's quite interesting actually visiting Malta in January. It was too cold to go in their outdoor pools because the outdoor pools are not heated, but it was very interesting in other ways. It was sort of like a summer's day in England, and it was I could walk about and see it all, which I couldn't have done if I went to Malta in summer because it'd be scorching hot. So make sure you check out my other videos of my urban exploring in Malta, and also check out my 3 videos of my cheap flight adventure to Malta.